Welcome back to the South Carolina Manufacturing Conference and Expo here on SC Biz TV. In case you missed it, our prior session was sprinting to keep up with technology. That session is now archived on SC Biz TV, and you can watch it at your leisure. This session is titled The Dawn of a Smart Factory. We're going to hear from Kai Warner, the Vice President and Technical Plant Manager at Robert Bosch, and Richard Phillips, the Director of Smart Manufacturing Solutions at Polytron. The presenting sponsor of this event is MAU Workforce Solutions. MAU, a staffing, recruiting, and outsourcing solutions firm, has been in business since 1973. Let's hear from Rob McLean. Rob is the president at 3CI, an MAU company, and then we'll go straight to Kai Warner, who will talk about advanced automation and the factory of the future. See you back here shortly.
Hey, I'm Rob McLean, president of 3CI, MAU's technology division. Many of you in South Carolina know MAU for its expertise in workforce solutions servicing the manufacturing industry. You may not be aware that in 2018, MAU acquired 3CI, a technology consulting and workforce solutions company. MAU's vision is to continue to provide workforce solutions at the plant level and is acutely aware that Industry 4.0, digital transformation, and smart factory innovation will change the landscape of manufacturing in the years to come. MAU is excited to continue to provide the world-class workforce solutions you're accustomed to, while looking to the future to provide technology services to its clients, including both tech labor and tech solutions. MAU is able to do so through its technology division, 3CI, and partnerships with best-in-class smart factory consulting companies like Polytron. We're really excited to sponsor this event today so you can learn from MAU's client, Bosch, and MAU's partner, Polytron, about how technology is changing the landscape of manufacturing as we know it. Enjoy the event.
Hello everybody, my name is Kai Warner and I'm the Technical Plant Manager of our plant in Charleston, South Carolina. Today I want to talk about advanced automation and the factory of the future. But before we go into details, I want to give you a brief overview of the company I'm working for. So I'm working for Bosch, and we are currently making around about $85.7 billion in sales with around about 398,000 associates worldwide. We are separated in 4 major divisions. One is mobility solutions, one is industrial technology, the other one is energy building technology, and the fourth one is consumer goods. Bosch in North America has around about $14.4 billion of sales with 35,000 associates. We have 25 manufacturing plants in North America. That includes Mexico as well in North America. And we have 3 R&D locations, one in Sunnyvale, one in Cambridge, and one in Pittsburgh. Myself, I'm coming from the beautiful Charleston, South Carolina plant. At the moment, we employ around about 1,850 associates on 1 million square foot footage. And we produce gasoline and direct injection valve, as well as the electronic stability program and some high pressure pumps. And from next year on, we will also produce the electric motor for the ever increasing electrification. Now, if we talk about advanced automation and the factory of the future, we also need to talk about the Internet of Things. And the Internet of Things is changing how we live, how we work, how we get around. The homes get smarter, the factories get more productive, and the mobilities are getting a fundamentally new form if we just think about autonomous driving. Since we are not only producing solutions for third parties, but also provide solutions for ourselves, we launched a campaign worldwide, which is called Like a Bosch. So that addresses not only how we work and how we live in our houses, but also how could smart mobility concepts look like, or how can the future manufacturing could look like.
Let's produce like a Bosch. Easy use like a Bosch. Connect machines like a Bosch. Perfect team like a Bosch. Flexible line like a Bosch. To make it mine like a Bosch. No downtime like a Bosch. That's worth a rhyme.
Excuse me? Did you say no downtime? That's not true. We have scheduled downtime.
Like a Bosch. Control detect like a Bosch. Phone check like a Bosch. Go 5G like a Bosch. IoT. So efficient, that's our mission. Never stressed, AR test, data cloud, makes me proud. Together we save energy. IoT. Manufactured like a Bosch, with many innovations for the factory of the future. From Bosch.
Wow, there's a lot to do. And as I already explained, we are also developing solutions for advanced automation and the factory of the future. And having said that, we started that journey many years ago, and we were testing a lot of those solutions in our plants. And obviously, this was a very technology-driven approach. So we got the latest and greatest technology, and we thought what we can do with it and started implementing. This worked out for a while, but then 3 years ago, we did a reset. And how that worked, I'll explain in the next slide. So we got carried away with the technology and forgot a little bit about our requirements and what this is really about and why are we doing certain AI solutions or certain Industry 4.0 solutions. So we made the decision to derive each and every project from our business requirements. For instance, scrap rate or higher OEE or certainly better quality. On the other hand, as I pointed out, we are a large plant. So we had a lot of experts scattered around our plant and nobody really worked together. So we formed a core team. So now we networked our experts. In parallel, to a certain extent, the leadership was disconnected. So we formed a steering committee to not only involve the leadership, but also to educate leadership and make them responsible. And last but not least, we developed a strategy for ourselves, which we released 3 years ago. Out of that strategy, out of the business requirements, we always released one roadmap per year. And this is what we're working on. So at the moment, we are working on our 2020 roadmap. So how did the strategy look like? First of all, we talk about connectivity, data availability. Second, we talk about environmental and energy monitoring. Third, very important if you run a large plant, is predictive maintenance and intelligent maintenance. Not forgetting the logistics and material flow. And last but not least, data analytics and decision making. Enabled organization is a really important topic. I could speak for hours about this, and it's really something where we worked on it quite a bit, but today I will not go into the details here. Now let's look at some solutions we implemented. First of all, connectivity. The backbone for the connectivity is our manufacturing execution system. So this is the key not only to collect our data, it's also the key to integrate our ERP system and run our data analytics and our AI algorithms. It's the key enabler not only to execute our operations, it is also the key enabler for our predictive maintenance solutions, for the traceability, for our quality control, you name it. The next video shows you a little bit of an insight what Nexceed can do for you.
Bosch Connected Industry, holistic Industry 4.0 solutions from a single source. Nexceed has one main goal: to support our customers in connecting their value stream. The Nexceed software solutions make sure that product process and logistics data of all machines and systems is used for continuous optimization. From procurement, through production, to the end customer. We can connect all Nexceed solutions, further Bosch solutions, and third-party applications. Nexceed makes it easy to get started with the connected factory. Bosch is both leading user and leading provider for Industry 4.0. In line with this strategy, we validate our Nexceed solutions internally before we offer them to our external customers, who profit from the experience of more than 270 Bosch plants all over the world. Nexceed, Industry 4.0 software from a single source. Bosch, invented for life.
All right, next solution. In the old days, as some of you know, we had our shop floor management cycles every day. We had a lot of boards, a lot of manual effort. We had no interactive solutions. We had no real-time data. That was the old days. And on top of it, we used a lot of space in our plants. You can see that on the left side of my slide. Nowadays, we have done a completely digital shop floor management using Active Cockpit. Now, there's no more manual effort for the generation of our required KPI we need to do for our daily review of our value stream. We have real-time data out of SAP. And very important, since the products, what we produce here in Charleston, we also produce in other parts of the world like India, China, Brazil, Germany. So we can have a worldwide benchmark at our fingertips. So our engineers can see how they're doing, how their scrap rate is doing, how their OEE is doing every day in real time without any effort. One of the next solutions we already worked on since 2017 was how can we start reducing the downtime of our robots? As we are a high-cost location, as you probably can think, we have a fairly high level of automation. And out of our data, we found out that the robots contribute to quite a bit of the downtime, and therefore we lost a lot of OEE. So what we decided is we need to get a better grip on the performance of the robot and also of the health state of the robot. So with the solution we've implemented now, we can monitor in real time each and every part of the robot and can, for instance, then shift from an instantaneous breakdown to a predictive maintenance. So we replace a robot because we know it's going to fail. We replace an arm because we know it's going to be replaced. And that saves quite a bit of time and improved significantly our OEE. That system is connected to our setup cell phones, but they also can use this as a web applications or it can receive an email. Similar along the line is the connectivity of some older machinery we had in our plant, is like, for instance, our washing machines and lasers. These are some integral operations in our plant. If we produce injectors, the thing needs to be clean, and we mainly use laser welding. So therefore, what we did is we connected those older machinery with a tool called Device Bridge, and we are using, as mentioned already, Nextseed for the data collection. Then we stream the live data into our data lake, and we can use the Grafana tool in order to visualize any data we want. So for instance, now we are able to monitor the temperature of the chilled water for our lasers. We can see, for instance, how many batches are in our washing machines. We can measure the concentration of the wash bath. So everything what the setup needs in order to improve its performance, we can visualize. Next, we talked about advanced logistics solutions. So we started quite a few years ago and thought we need to automate our milk runs. And we started to implement those AGVs, what they call it, for our standard routines. So we didn't start with something complicated, but with something easy. So this pilot, which we're running now for more than a year, gives us the necessary confidence then to move on to more complicated things like, for instance, dynamic routing our AGVs. With this, we would need our SAP connected directly to our MES and then to the system to run our AGVs. But that's the future for next year. What we also are heavily involved is our electronic Kanban system. So all our value streams are on a pull system. And in the past, it was rather difficult to implement a pull system, for instance, across a building, or it got even more complicated across the continent or across plants. So with this system, we are now able to order parts from our pre-production to our assembly lines from another building in our plant, but also from other plants. So we, for instance, order ECUs in our Mexico plant, or we order some packaging supplies from our supplier here around the corner. Something which is, for us, a very ambitious process is to use AI-based solutions in order to improve our first pass yield in our test benches for our high-pressure pump. As you can imagine, a pump is quite expensive when you test it and you need to scrap it. And we thought, what can we do in order to significantly reduce the scrap rate? And we found out we need to better understand what are the root causes or what are the parameters which influence the performance of such a pump. And if you do this in a conventional way, you do this very analytical. With our AI-based solutions, we can quickly identify parameters which influence the performance of our pump. And on the left side, you see, for instance, the housing of a pump. And what we understood now is, if, for instance, some tolerances are more on the left side of the curve or more on the right side of the curve, This influences with all the tolerances which are adding up when you assemble such a pump to a bad pump. And now we can, for specific types, adjust our machinery accordingly. And with this, significantly could reduce our scrap rate. Last but not least, I need to explain a little bit more why we put so much emphasis on energy management and energy reduction. As you might have heard, Bosch was one of the first main suppliers in the automotive industry who went completely CO2 neutral already this year. So this puts a lot of emphasis in our plans to energy reduction measures. And the platform, what we use, we call it BEPS. It's the Bosch Energy in Building platform. We use this to continuously monitor our energy consumption in all the plants. So this solution is pretty much implemented in all the 270 Bosch plants. And we can, for instance, monitor the real-time air consumption. And then we can switch on or switch off our compressors accordingly, and that saved us last year almost 1,200 megawatts. Similar thing for our chilled water. So when you monitor constantly the temperature of your chilled water, you can accordingly adjust your chillers to accommodate the fluctuations in the need for chilled water. And a more ambitious task is that we monitor the ambient temperature and humidity, and also the influence on our production parameters. So with this, we, for instance, found out that for some areas in the plant, the mold, in our molding operations, the resin was too dry in certain extents in winter. And with adjusting our humidity to the ambient humidity, we could accordingly improve our defect costs. Coming to an end, as already mentioned, if you do Industry 4.0 solutions, it makes a lot of sense to derive it from the business strategy and from the business requirements. So you need a business case for each and every solutions you put in. Connectivity of machine as well as components is key. We made the decision only to use industry standards and do not develop any of your own solutions because the wheel is spinning so fast and there's so much on the horizon. We did not talk about the skill set and education, but technology is not our limiting factor at the moment. It's the skill sets of our associates. And talking briefly about the next frontier, we will move into a topic what we call full data-driven organization. So we still kick off projects where we think it's gonna be a problem, but we not really know it. And with a full data-driven organization, we want to take all our decisions full data-driven. Thank you for your attention.
The faster your new facility can be built or renovated, the sooner it can begin producing a return on your investment. Cho Construction Company's precision, efficiency, and flexibility is why we are the contractor of choice for the most intricate, complicated, and aggressive projects. Our food and beverage experts here at Choate understand USDA, FDA, CGMP, and food plant sanitary process standards and regulations. We also assist NA-FSMA compliance so that you can stay focused on your product. With over 60 million square feet of projects from the Southeast to the Pacific Northwest, your food and beverage experts at Cho Construction are here to help you. Visit our website at choco.com to learn more.
Welcome back, everyone. That was Kai Warner. He's the Vice President, Technical Plant Manager at Robert Bosch. We appreciate you, Kai. I'm joined now by Richard Phillips. Richard is the Director of Smart Manufacturing Solutions at Polytron. We'll be talking about smart manufacturing and best practices learned from multiple deployments. Richard, welcome.
Thank you, Rick. Glad to be here.
I am glad you came. I believe you had to drive all the way here from Atlanta.
I did, yeah. We're based out of Atlanta. I've been there for many, many years.
Polytron, let's talk about what you guys do a little bit, and then I want to get into how you are helping manufacturers. You all deliver automated factory solutions. for manufacturers. You specialize in manufacturing. You're not only working in that industry, right? But you specialize in manufacturing. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so Polytron's been in business for 35 years. We work with mostly Fortune 500, but more recently small to medium manufacturers as well, which is something we're excited about. And we've been delivering these automation, process packaging, industrial network solutions, machine safety, and then overall project management specifically for manufacturing.
I got it. So we just heard from Kai at Bosch. Now those guys are a little advanced, right?
Absolutely, yeah. They are a fantastic company from the perspective of they're deploying a lot of these Industry 4.0 solutions and really showing the rest of the manufacturing industry how they get value out of these solutions.
So your client is not going to necessarily be a Bosch, right? Your client is going to be more along the lines of the companies that need some assistance to get to where Bosch is.
Exactly. So we really have both. We have the Fortune 500 customers that we work with, and then what we're really excited about is these small to medium manufacturers and helping them navigate along with this smart manufacturing journey and showing that even a small manufacturer with not deep pockets can benefit from these solutions with a very fast ROI to show that it makes sense for them to continue this journey, to start and continue the journey.
Right. So Polytron main office
In Atlanta, Georgia. Yep.
And where are your other offices?
We have folks throughout the country. That's our main office. We usually work out of that office. We also do a lot of remote deployments, go on site as needed, typically do a discovery trip, remote configuration, meet with the stakeholders, and then go on site for deployment. So most of our folks are in the Atlanta office with a few folks throughout the country.
Any idea how many manufacturing clients you have?
Oh, I
Or
would
that
say
you have worked with?
Ooh, that we've
Hard
worked
to say.
with. It's probably in the hundreds.
Right.
Over the last 35 years.
Right. Can we talk a little bit about best practices and what you've learned? I mean, you're working with a whole lot of manufacturers. I would assume that you all learn a little bit as you go as well.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that. What does that look like?
And that's really one of the core things we bring. We work with a lot of different manufacturers, both large, small, leading, some of that are just getting into the journey. And as part of that, and other organizations like Mesa, and there's other organizations that develop best practices for these types of strategies and projects. So we help manufacturers implement some of those best practices from a consultative standpoint first, and then from implementation. And then some of those things are things that are basic, but we see a lot of people sort of skipping them. They're trying to implement cool technology. They're not focused on the business driver. You know, technology's cool, but it's trying to solve a business problem. Right. They forget about aligning the stakeholders, making sure everybody's on the bus. Yeah. And then other things that we talk about is technology stacks and things. So there's a lot of considerations that really help manufacturers be successful.
Right. It's interesting that you talk about the cool part of new technology, right? We were talking with Antonio Vaz earlier today. Antonio's with JTech. And Antonio was talking about that they have to be careful not to adopt a technology just because it's cool.
Yes.
Just because they want to do it because, oh, wouldn't that be cool,
yes.
right? And so there's a strategy there that they have to make sure that they follow, or they may go down a path that they don't necessarily want to.
And that is absolutely correct. And we've seen, take smart glasses, for example. People are very excited about them. And we've seen cases where manufacturers said, here's some smart glasses, go find a good use for them. When I want to walk around, I want to see them in use. Well, not really a good approach. And then another manufacturer said, here's a problem, here's how we go about solving the problem. We're going to look at all the technologies. It just turns out the smart glasses make sense for that solution. Successful implementation, one that falls in this 80% proof of concept purgatory that we talked about.
Let's talk about proof of concept purgatory. I saw you on your website where you were discussing, or I saw some information on your website about it. Tell me a little bit more about that.
It's almost become an industry term that's out there because there's several studies and surveys that 80% of these pilots in terms of Industry 4.0 or smart factory fail or don't move forward. And they fail or don't move forward because some of these best practices really aren't focused on. Again, the business driver, aligning the stakeholders to make sure it's successful, making sure that you pick the right pilot, making sure that the technology is a result of your engineering assessment to determine what's the best tool. So some of these basic best practices is really what leads into that. And then also just really not picking the right technology for that solution. So there's a lot of things that go into front end, but manufacturers have proven that if you do it right, you will be successful. You will get the return on investment. One of our case studies that we did a webinar for last month, they had a return on investment in 3 months for the first phase, and that fueled 8 more phases of deployment.
So Richard, tell me, what is the most popular road to go down for these technologies? You know, you got predictive analytics and predictive maintenance, and then you get into the cool stuff, artificial intelligence and virtual reality and 3D printing and smartware and cobots.
Exactly.
Right? All of this stuff. What do you find that people, what road do they want to go down? What is that most popular road? And then what is the most popular road that they actually wind up going down?
Excellent. That is an excellent question. So a lot of the factories out there, manufacturing assets, are 30, 40, 50 years old. I mean, it's just a reality, and they've just been running and running all along and producing product and so forth. So lots of paper on the plant floors, lots of downtime in many cases. So the traditional paperless or digital downtime tracking and OEE, those tend to produce the highest return on investment very quickly. Mm-hmm. That is normally what we end up doing for manufacturers as a first phase. And then, of course, all of the other stuff follows after that. So smart sensors, predictive maintenance, condition-based maintenance, ERP integration, finite scheduling, you know, all of these are things that are typically fueled afterwards, but there are some very low-hanging fruit, especially for manufacturers who have facilities who are 30, 40, 50 years old. The low-hanging fruits with technology now, it's almost becomes a no-brainer for those first couple of phases.
Right. That's good information. You know, I have said before that the factories of today, this ain't your daddy's manufacturing, right? It used to be that we hired people to screw in a bolt, let's say.
Right.
And now we have robots do that, and then we hire people to manage those robots.
Right.
So as we continue to go down this road and add more and more technology, what's that going to do to the workforce?
That's another good question. So, and we see this already in some of the manufacturers who are well down this digital transformation path. It's instead of having the manual labor, the manual manipulation of the data collection, putting it on spreadsheets and all that, those manual tasks are sort of going to go away, started going away. But instead, you're looking for higher skilled people who can solve problems. What they're learning now, maybe in college, is not what they need to know 10 years from now.
Right.
So they have to be problem solvers, eager to learn, eager to understand how to use the tools available to them, whether it's remote support or whether it's the internet, so that they can learn something quickly and be able to solve the problem. So we see it as probably the jobs are going to be fewer in manufacturing, right, but they're going to be higher skilled, higher paying, probably more rewarding jobs.
Right. I would think in your all situation, and as we talk about staffing, do you partner with staffing agencies?
We do. So we work with obviously MAU and 3CI, who's their technology arm. We have partnered with them to bring some of these solutions to their customers. They understand that this is going to be very disruptive for manufacturing, so they want to get ahead of it and be able to service their customers better with these solutions so that they can benefit from it as well.
I understand. Richard, thank you so much for joining us. That was really good information.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Okay, guys. That completes the 4th session of the South Carolina Manufacturing Conference and Expo here on SC Biz TV. Session 5 is the Aerospace Economic Impact Study, which will be presented right here for the very first time. It starts in just a few minutes. To move to the next session, simply click on the link below to enter the next scheduled part of our agenda. If you join us a little bit later, just click on whatever session you'd like to see, as long as it's already aired, and it'll be there so you can view it at your leisure. I'll see you right back here in just a few minutes.